We're talking about Dele Alli, and I've seen the clips of Mourinho, one of the best managers we've seen in the game, struggling to speak to him. Antonio Conte had Dele Alli for a while when he took over at Spurs, and now Frank Lampard, two great coaches. And I'm looking at Frank Lampard himself, and you can't put any blame, I think, on Lampard not being able to motivate Ali. If two other coaches couldn't do it, fair enough. But Lampard as a whole, throughout his career as a manager, Derby, large amount of money spent, didn't get promoted. Champions League, he leaves, and then they win it with Thomas Tuchel. And now he's at Everton, he's kept them up, he's had to change his style. Do you rate him as a manager?
You're so glass half empty, Adam, aren't you? Honestly, honestly. So let's spin that around.
He has to prove it to me. Let's put it that way.
And he did tell me he wants to prove it to you. Yeah.
As he should. I'm listening.
No, let's turn it around. OK, so I covered the Championship at a time where he was Derby, and you say that money was spent. Well, money was spent in a lot of clubs at the Championship. None more so than at Aston Villa, who beat them in the final. So he took Derby to 90 minutes away in his only season at Derby from being in the Premier League. And look where Derby are now. Go to Chelsea. He went to Chelsea, transfer ban. Not allowed to bring anyone in. Not only that, lost the best player at the club, who was not only the best player at the club, but the best player in the Premier League.
They still had a very good squad, though. I mean, this is Chelsea we're talking about.
And they finished fourth in his second season ever as a manager. The following season, I can't argue with the fact of decision to get rid of him, because look what Thomas Tuchel did after that. He wouldn't have won the Champions League, but then I would say that very few managers in the world would have taken over Chelsea and gone on to win the Champions League.
And that's after he spent a lot of money, we should add, in the summer where they could.
After a lot of money was spent. Not he spent a lot of money.
No,
because
the club under his stewardship.
Well, how many of those players did he really choose, and how many did the club want? I don't know. We'll have to go through each one and then sit down and ask him. And I'm sure you can do that one time when he's trying to prove to you that he is a good manager.
Oh.
And then Everton, my question is, how many hands are tied behind his back? One or both? You know, FFP is a massive problem. £500 million spent at Everton. And now he's come in, and because of all that money, poor recruitment, and Marcel Brands has gone, the sporting director, he's not able to spend the money. And with all due respect to the likes of Neil Maupay, who's wonderful finish today, but hasn't been able to get into Brighton's first team, so that's the kind of level that Everton are shopping in at the moment. So I still think that it's still very early days in Frank's management, and you can't judge him because each of the level that he's been at, he hasn't had long enough to be judged on, or at least you can say there are positives as well as possible negatives.
Sorry, the jury's out, but what I would say in his defence, and I feel like it's the same with Steve and Gerrard, and you could throw Wayne Rooney into the mix. There's always a more of an interest in how they're doing. It's kind of like they're on the job but in the spotlight. It's like we don't talk about Graham Potter when he's at Brighton early days like we are Frank Lampard.
Well, even last season they were getting some boos from the Brighton fans because they weren't winning at home.
But we don't talk about him in the same breath as a Steven Gerrard because we see them as iconic players and we want to know how they're doing. So you know, I look for how Frank's doing and how Steven's doing. I don't bother when Potter was at Brighton and stuff because I'm not interested. It's the younger ones coming through, these new managers. Some of them, you just let them get on with it. But the likes of Frank and Steven, they're in the spotlight, so they're going to be scrutinised a lot more. I do think the jury's out, and I listen to your argument. I think it's right. I think it would be a bit hasty to judge him at the moment.
OK.